Good day, good day. Yes, it's Startup and Innovators. Yes, on the Atlantic Discuss channel. Yeah, I know we've not been around for a week or thereabout. I've been so busy doing so many things, but there we have a stockpile of guests that we need to unpack. Yeah. So, I mean, today we have someone who's a cloud engineer. He's into photography. He also has an online newsletter. It's a new territory, just look at the combination a computer cloud engineer. He's into photography. Then he's practicing journalism. That's what the cyber world does to you. You become creative, you veer off and that. But then, in our typical tradition, we introduce him, we allow him to tell his story. So my guest today is Adedapo Adeolu-Balogun. Adedapo, how are you doing today?
Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, great. Nice to have you. Nice to have you
Yes.
with us.
Nice to be here.
Okay, great. So Adedapo is a cloud engineer. He's into photography. He's been doing that for a very, very, very long time. Now he's just started a newsletter. So, but I'm going to, I probably won't want to talk too much about him for obvious reasons. So, but I would like him to introduce himself, tell us, So let me put it this way. Why did you study computer engineering, cloud computing? I know you have a lot of certification in the cyber world. Why did you veer into that industry first and first?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So, to start, my major actually wasn't always cloud computing. At
Hmm.
first, I used to study management information systems. So,
Okay.
I studied management information systems at Georgia State University. And while I was at Georgia State, like you said, I'm a photographer as well. So,
Hmm.
while I was at Georgia State, there's a lot of people that I know. Some of my friends, some are not my friends. Some people were my clients. So, some of those clients, they study computer science, management information systems, computer information systems, majors similar to mine. And a lot of the things I was hearing from them was that the job market wasn't really forthcoming for them, especially with the majors that they had. Because in the past, if you had a computer science major or a MIS major, something like that, the jobs were not that hard to get. But as time went on, the job market kind of depreciated over time, and I was just hearing a lot of things that they couldn't get good roles, and the main reason of that was because of certifications. They didn't have certifications, and a lot of these entry level jobs, they're looking for 4 years of experience off the bat. So it's kind of like, why? How are you going to get experience if you can't get the entry level role? And a lot of people, you can get internships too, but these people are not really looking for a lot of these roles. Are not looking for internship experience. They're looking for proper work experience after internship. So that being said, and then one of my friends ended up starting at Western Governors University. That's the school I transferred to study cloud computing. And one of the main things that attracted me there was certifications. And like I was saying, a lot of people that were graduating while I was doing their graduation shoots, during shoots, I just kind of talk to my client, just get to know them and stuff like that. And they kind of just told me that, yeah, they were having trouble finding roles because they didn't have any certifications, they didn't have any experience. So they started letting me know the certification that they needed to get. I started hearing about CompTIA Security Plus, CompTIA Network Plus, and I just got intrigued about that. And then one of my other friends, they also transferred from Georgia State University to Western Governors University, and I just kind of asked them, "Oh, why did you make the switch?" He was just like, "Well, the reason why he gave was because it was a remote school." And he liked the flexibility of it, and he was just looking for a change. So then I did my own research on Western Governors University, and I saw they offered a lot of certifications that I was hearing about from my clients. Certification, like I said, CompTIA A plus, Network Plus, and things like that. So WGU basically offers you certifications as classes.
Mhm.
So let's say in a regular class, in a regular school, you take accounting, accounting one, accounting two. But the way it is at WGU, you can take a class that class is literally for CompTIA Security Plus.
Mhm.
CompTIA Security Plus is a industry level certification that a lot of job market companies are also looking for, especially in these entry level roles and even higher end roles too. So once I found out about that, that was just kind of I just kind of thought, it was like, would I want to graduate and have to go get those certifications afterwards, or can I just make this switch and get my degree and also get the certifications along with it? So it kind of just seemed like a smart move to make. And they have a lot of different types of majors. They have software engineering, they have cybersecurity, but at the time, I also started hearing about cloud engineering, cloud, this, cloud, that. So I also did my own research about that, found out about AWS, found out about AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, that is Amazon's uh, cloud company. And then I also found out about Microsoft Azure. That's basically the competitor of AWS. And at that time, that was maybe like 2.5 years ago. This is when cloud started, taking off a little bit. The cloud industry has been growing, and it's still a growing industry as well. It's a lot of room to growth. A lot of big companies manage their databases on the cloud. Like Netflix manages their database on the cloud. And Amazon, being a huge company, also manages their database on their cloud service. So a lot of companies are starting to adapt to cloud services, especially since the original ways of having a database and managing your own infrastructure as a big company is really expensive. It takes a long time to develop data centers, and it's very expensive to maintain that as well. And it's even more expensive to scale it. So cloud is now an opportunity for even small businesses to be able to scale their businesses quick, reliable, and the way I looked at it was just a great opportunity. So I just went ahead and jumped at that. But that was the main reason why I
Okay.
made that transition.
How do you combine photography with cloud computing?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Well, it's really time management, to be honest. And a lot of those things, I kind of intertwine them. That's kind of how I also got into AI. So the way I combine it is most of the time with shoots, I usually shoot on the weekend anyway. Most of the time I shoot events, I shoot weddings, I also shoot regular portraits, like I said, graduation shoots, birthday shoots, and stuff like that. So I base my schedule, my work schedule, already have that set. And then for shoots, photography, I just kind of base it around that. So let's say if I'm working during the week, let's say if I'm working from 11 to 6 from Monday to Friday, I just know I can't really shoot around that time. I know that the weekends are basically my time to shoot. And here and there during the week, if I do have any time, I just schedule that accordingly.
Okay. So for photography, it's not just an hobby, you do make money from it.
Yes, yes, yes. Not just a hobby. Like I said, I shoot weddings, I shoot graduation photos. So it's not just, it started as a hobby. The way it started, I actually started taking photos at my church, at my former church that I used to go to. They kind of just gave me the role to just be taking pictures. It's not really something I wanted to do, but they just made me do it. And eventually I started to realize that did have a good eye for it. Had a good eye for it. And, it was also an opportunity that it was also like a creative outlet as well. And also people started to notice that, oh, can you take my pictures? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then I started, using the church's camera because I didn't have a camera then. Like I said, I was shooting for my church. So I started, most of the people I was also shooting for were people that went to my church as well. So it was also a good way for me to get, clients early on. The people I already knew that I kind of already developed that trust with because they also saw me taking pictures every Sunday. So, I started getting more clients and getting better at it. Started making a little bit of money. And then eventually I bought my own camera. And then when I went to school, went to college, I met a lot more people that needed photos. So at that point, I started to build more of a clientele, started meeting, event planners and all other photographers and videographers, started working with them. And then I kind of built like an ecosystem of until that way.
So do you have a website for your photography company? Do you?
Yes, yes, I do have a website, daposhade.com/Adobe Portfolio. I host my website on Lightroom Adobe Portfolio. So I can also give you that so you can put in the description as well.
Okay, all right, fair enough. We'll do that for you. So, what's this new thing about newsletter? I see you because I know that you've done some jobs for us at our sister company, Atlantic Digest. I know you did some back-end job and all that. Did that leapfrog you into your new venture? That's Focal, the newsletter that you just started. Did that?
Yes.
Mm,
Oh yeah, yeah, it definitely did. So with AI, I kind of started hearing about just like everybody started hearing about AI this, AI that. Whenever ChatGPT came out, so ChatGPT was the first proper AI company OpenAI was the first company, but their product was ChatGPT. So I also started using ChatGPT, and a lot of people like me and a lot of people also just use it as like another search engine, like a Google, because everybody just kind of thought, oh, just ask it a question and it will give you an answer. So, just like everybody else, I started using it. But then I kind of got into it a little bit more when I started learning about N8N.
mhm.
N8N is this, you can use it to create. AI workflows basically. So I learned about N8N and learned how I can connect different services together and create workflows automatically.
Mm,
So that was my first proper introduction to AI minus ChatGPT. So after I learned about N8N, I also then found out about Claude. That's when Claude kind of launched and we're kind of picking up some steam a little bit there. So I learned
mm,
about Claude and then I started using Claude and then I found out about Claude Code, which is kind of similar to N8N, but Claude Code basically is a coding web, it's an application that you can use to develop AI applications as well, but you don't have to know how to code. You can create websites, you can create AI workflows, you can basically do anything on
mm,
Cloud Code. So I learned how to use Cloud Code using YouTube University. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of practice as well. So through doing that, I also, was able to do different jobs for companies. Like you said, I did some work for your sister company. I basically developed a AI newsletter pipeline that helps the company find news from other sources and able to, voice it in the company's voice. And
mm,
also created a pipeline for the news, the website to be able to, upload news to their own website automatically, just so it's just a smooth automated process. The thing about AI is it takes all the manual work out of things. You don't have to go in and do things yourself. You can just automate it and it just makes your workflow easier. And then you can also focus on other things that really push the needle forward in the business. So
mm,
with that, after I did that, I also started working with other business owners. I worked with a hairdresser that needed an inventory tracker.
mhm,
So basically, I developed a pipeline for her to be able to know all the inventory she has. And as it runs low, she also gets updates on that. Just because our main issue was she was selling items that she didn't have in stock. So she needed a way to be able to track what was sold, when it was sold, also for her analytics as well. So she can know, okay, this XYZ products
mm,
sells pretty quick. So I need to re up on this every month.
mm,
So as I started getting into doing more work for people, then I started using AI for myself personally, for my photography, using it to develop, contracts, to develop, to automatically respond to people's after inquiries, to reduce that time in between the inquiry being sent and my response to them. And then, as I started doing that, I also now started doing more AI stuff for my personal self. So I developed this AI personal agent, and one of the things that my AI personal agent helped me do was source different news about different things that I just needed to know about. Because with AI, it's very evolved and a lot of things come out every day, just like cloud computing too. That's
mm.
one of the things that people kind of don't like about cloud because it's new. And that the fact that it's new means there's going to be a lot of updates daily. There's going to be a lot of things changing. For example, AWS just recently changed one of their examinations. They added some AI services to it from when I took it. I think I took it about 1 year ago, but now the exam is totally different. So that just goes to show that it's an industry that's always changing. So what I did was
So you have to take that certification all over again.
no, I don't have to take it again. Once you take that cert, I think you have maybe 2 years
Mhm,
that is valid for, and then you just have to renew it. But you don't have to take the exam again. It's a simple process to renew it. So
mm,
I'm good. Once you take it once, you're really good with it. But I was just saying that to let you know that it's a lot of things that are changing within cloud computing and AI.
mm.
So with that being said, then I started develop I my personal agent. I use that to develop a system that feeds me news every day, new things that I need to know about AI, about business, about technology, about different companies, and
Yeah, you're
also
already competing with us, yeah.
yeah, just trying to stay
No,
ahead
it's
of it. 'Cause
okay. I
that's
mean, there's room for everybody. Mhm,
yeah, yeah, that's the whole point of AI is to help you get ahead of your whoever you're competing with. Because once you can automate your processes, you can focus more on things that actually help your business grow.
mm,
So yeah, so like I said, I started having my personal agent, send me different news that I need to know, even things that the government does that affects business and AI, and it just compiles everything into a Google Docs for me. So I
mhm.
have my all my systems are connected with each other. My AI personal agent has access to my Google Docs, so it uploads everything to my Google Docs. So every morning I can just have a daily download of everything that's new tools, And of course, my personal agent has a lot of context about me. So it also fishes me things that I need to know personally. Like, let's say now it knows I'm working on a newsletter pipeline. It's gonna tell me new stuff about newsletters and newspapers and things that has to do with that.
Mm.
So whenever I was reading that, that's where I got the idea for the newsletter, because I'm like, okay, this is something personal for me, but what if I can create something for other people that also want to be informed about AI, or maybe people that are scared about, their job security and stuff like that, and just want it to be ahead. People that are like high achievers and want to create things, and they don't have enough time to really, they don't really know how to use AI. So they're not in a position where they can create a personal agent that can just, find the news for them. So the newsletter is something that people can, anybody in any, whether you have a business, whether you work a job, the newsletter is going to be great information for you to just be able to, find out everything that's new within your business, your lane, AI, the government, just knowledge about things that are going on generally in the world.
So that's focal, right?
Yes, yes, it's called Focal,
Yeah.
and I release new newsletters every Thursday. It's probably gonna go up a little. Maybe I'll start doing twice a week, but
Mm.
for now, I'm starting every Thursday around 8 a.m. The
And
news.
what do we need to subscribe?
Oh yes, I have a subscription link. I will send you the subscription link so that people can. You just have to click the link and put your email in, and then you start receiving the news every Thursday.
Impressive. So in all this, I mean, you're into photography, you're now into, some level of journalism. Now you're doing AI, you're a cloud computer engineer, and so on and so forth. Of all this, which has been the most complicated for you? Which is the hardest terrain for you to maneuver?
Hmm. Hardest terrain. I would say it has to be
Mm.
cloud computing, because it just, even though it sounds pretty straightforward, but it's a lot of different intricate details that you have to learn, especially with cloud. Cloud is just a huge umbrella. Then there's different roles in cloud. There are different cloud companies, different certifications you have to take. So it's just a lot to learn. One of the projects I worked on in regards to cloud computing was a chatbot, a conversational chatbot for a website that did insurance comparison. So I had to develop the chatbot, and at first I thought, okay, it was going to be pretty straightforward. It was a couple tools I had to use on AWS, that's Amazon Web Services, to use to actually create the chatbot. But what I noticed was it's really not as easy as it might have seemed, because if you're creating a chatbot, you have to give it context about what it's talking about. So I have to connect it to the database. And now, okay, you have to put information in the database so that the chatbot can, the database is the brain of the chatbot. If somebody asks it a question, it needs somewhere to refer to. The
Mhm.
thing about AI is only good as the context you give it.
Mm.
So if the AI doesn't really know any context, it's just gonna give you a whole bunch of answers that don't really have anything to do with what you're talking about. And people refer to that as AI hallucination. So it's very good for you to, it was very important to create a proper database that it can pull information from. And I was able to do that. That wasn't too difficult, but the more difficult part was the conversational aspect of the chatbot, because it has to talk to a human being. And one of the main issues with AI right now, because it's still kind of early, but it's improving on, is the human relational part about AI. Because obviously, talking to a human being is way better than talking to just a robot.
Yeah.
People want to know that people want to know that the person actually,
Well,
cares about.
for old-fashioned people like me, I still enjoy writing with my pen. So,
Right,
yeah, I type fast, but I rather sometimes I write with my pen and all that, you know.
right.
Okay, so what do you have to say? People saying, okay, people are losing their jobs. I mean, in the IT world, people are actually losing their jobs. So, what do you have to tell those that are losing their job? Because some have said, oh, no need to worry. I mean, Amos, the maths guy, you know,
Right.
Amos said, no, you people don't really have to be scared because you just have to,
Mhm.
it's only when you're static that you have to worry about the arrival of AI. Do you agree with Amos, or what advice do you have for those that are losing their jobs? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good take. I definitely agree with Amos on that regard. I feel like with AI is not just gonna take people's job. People that know how to use AI they're gonna be the one that takes the job. Because at
Mm.
the end of the day, somebody has to manage the AI. the artificial intelligence. That's one thing I've learned using AI. The AI itself can't really do anything. That's why even something like prompting is a whole job on its own. There are people that are literally prompt engineers that their job is literally to prompt. And prompting is just giving the AI input. So the people that are losing their job, because I also know people that are also getting laid off at different companies, like big tech companies, because those companies are using AI to basically do what they do. So what I would say is you need to learn how to use AI. You need to know how to leverage it in your for your advantage. If you whatever role you work, whether it's a business, whether you're a computer scientist, you should be using AI to make your workflows quicker, make them more effective, make them just better generally. Like you said, Amos said, if you're static, you're not growing, you're gonna get left behind. That's also one of the reasons why I started the newsletter as well, because when people find out different tools, because one of the things in my newsletter is I also give you a tool, an AI tool to use. Whether it's the AI tool that you can use, it could be a prompt that you can put into Claude, because the main AI resource I use is Claude. So I could give you, a prompt to use that will actually, help you do something that day on AI. Because at the end of the day, it's practice. You have to actually use it to know how to get better at using it. And once you start using it, then you realize all the possibilities. Because whenever I started using it, I didn't really think that I can, start a newsletter. But it was based off what I was able to do for myself that gave me the idea of starting the newsletter. So what I would just say to people is you have to learn how to use AI. You have to use it to your advantage because all these companies are using it to their advantage. And they're looking for people that can help them use AI for their advantage too. And even minus companies, you can use AI to even start your own company. Nowadays, it's really easy to, I won't say it's easy, but it's the easiest time to start a company on your own. And I'm sure in a couple of years, they're going to be proper companies that are really ran by one person. Then they just have different AI agents. They'll have a marketing agent, they'll have a sales agent, they'll have a research agent. So I would just say learning about AI, learning how it can benefit you. And then once you start doing that, you're on the right track. And even if you do maybe lose your job or something like that, once you start using AI, you can use it. That skill is on its own is a very valuable skill. And most people aren't gonna take advantage of that. Most people are just gonna be static, like you said. So if you're one of the people that take advantage, you're definitely in a good position moving forward.
You have focal, okay, you send the link, but what's it called? Is it just focal, the focal or focal.com or what's it called?
Well, so I manage it using this platform called Beehive. So the name of my newsletter is called Focal, but I manage it on a platform called Beehive. So the website is something like focal/beehive.com. And,
Okay.
I'll add the link to that there. But Beehive is just it's a website to manage the newsletter.
Okay. So the DSI, the Dapper shot the photography, that has a website already.
Yes, yes. I already have a website that's separate from my Focal newsletter. And I
Okay.
also send that as well.
So that one is written in full, Dapper shot it.
Yes, yes. That shot it. DSI for sure.
Okay, that's dappershottit.com.
Yes, that's correct.
Fantastic. So let me ask you this. What's the next big thing you I mean, you're scaling clearly. So which area do you think you venture into? Do you want to go do masters? Do you want to go into more business? Do you have another area of specialty you want to venture in? What's the next big thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm actually working on something new right now that I'm getting ready to launch soon. So I don't know if you've heard about School. Do you know what School is? Have you heard about School?
Go as in going to school?
No, no, it's a website called School. So it's spelled SK, or it's a platform, not a
Oh,
website.
okay.
So it's kind
Okay, okay. I know. SK,
You heard
no.
about School? Yeah, yeah. So School is basically a platform that you can use to teach people anything. So people that have school websites for fencing, for braiding hair, for photography, just literally anything. Newsletters, people have schools for newsletters. So one of the things I'm working on right now is developing a school site, and that's going to be teaching photographers how to leverage AI. So, and I'm looking to call it camera time, because one of the things that being a photographer, I kind of know all the pain points about photography, and I know a lot of photographers as well. And most of the things they complain about is doing admin work and having to respond to emails or having to, create contracts and things like that. But the what I'm looking to develop with Camera Time, which is what the school platform is going to be called, is supposed to help photographers, and not just photographers, different creatives to get their time back so that they can now properly create and spend time on their actual shoots and working one-on-one with their clients. And they're going to get that time back by automating their systems using AI to leverage and make their databases better, their websites better, automatically respond to people's emails so that they don't have to spend hours on a Monday. Because usually, most photographers do admin work during the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's when you do a lot of admin work. That's responding to emails, maybe updating your website, maybe backing up your SD cards and hard drives, and just clearing out different things that all the things that people don't talk about concerning photography or creative work. So that's something I definitely want to step into. It's pretty niche. That's why I like it. And I also know, like I said, I know all the pain points that people have to deal with as being creative, like a photographer, videographer. So I'm just trying to help those type of people be able to get a lot of time back so that they can use that time to create, push more of their content, brainstorm on ideas, so they don't have to, worry about all the monotonous day-to-day things that they have to do to get their business properly running.
Interesting. So how long have you been into photography?
Well, I've been, let's say, about 5 years, going on 6 years now, actually. It's been a little while, yeah. About 6 years now.
You stumbled on it in church. Now you
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, it's been nice talking to you. And so, clearly you have younger people, you're younger yourself, but you're not doing badly at all. But for the up and coming people, that's my last question to you. What advice do you have? People that are just on the verge of going to college, they want to pick, or those that are still in the junior in the high school, they want to pick a course of study and all that. What advice do you have for them? Do they have to, have a sort of skill set apart from what they study in college, or could be barbing? I remember you mentioned to me in one of our conversations that you have a friend that has a barbing salon and still does all that stuff and is making a lot from it. I remember you mentioned to me you have a friend that trades on in stocks also, that's also making a lot of money, that's still doing other things. So what advice do you have? Because I also know you have a pool of friends that you all do different type of business and you still concentrate on your profession, which is good, So you're in a position to mentor also somehow. I mean,
Right.
sure you're doing it, based on what we discussed. So what advice do you have for up and coming younger element?
Mm. Okay. I feel like my biggest advice is developing skills and developing skills that are actually valuable. Because
Mm,
there's a lot of, you can develop skills, but skills that are, skills that are not, let's say like trying to fix keyboards.
mm,
That's a good skill, but I don't really know if that's the most valuable skill you can develop. Now,
mm,
I've been talking about AI a lot. So obviously, I would say knowing how to use AI is going to be a very huge skill for you. But even mine is that just thinking ahead, like just thinking, just understanding that like there's a lot that you can do. Like try not to limit your thinking and trying to look for skills that can actually help you and skills that people need. So one thing I'll say is whatever things interest you, find what the pain points are. Like
mm,
let's if you like to ride bikes, let's even say just basic thing. If you like to ride bikes, try to figure out what the pain points that people that ride bikes have,
mm,
And once you figure that out, then you can develop skills through that. So I'm sure some people might say, oh, they don't really have talents or they don't know what their skills are. If that's the case, I feel like trying to find pain points is the biggest thing. Because even with businesses, a business only exists because of a pain point. Because if
mm,
there's no pain point, there is no business. There's no demand. So
mm,
you have to find the pain points in specific areas. And you can say that you should look for industries that are already booming. That's a perspective, like going into AI or going into cloud, but also things that you're interested in. Things that you're interested in are also really good because you actually are interested. So that means your work ethic is gonna be there.
mm.
So I would say the number one thing is to find and develop skills that can, that are valuable to people and
Like
can
what?
also,
Can you give us some ideas for people that?
oh, right, right. I feel like generally AI is something that a lot of people are gonna want to implement in literally everything. So
Mhm,
that being said, whatever things that you might be interested in, whether it's boxing, whether it's social media, it's different, whatever it is, whether it's business, whether it's marketing, if you like to do music, there are literally people that they're literally AI musicians right now.
Mhm.
You know, they're people that they're not real, but they're AI musicians.
And they're
And
making
you
money.
know, yeah, yeah. Whoever developed the AI musician, they're making the money from it, you know? So I'm just saying what I feel like is more so what are you interested in? Once you find out the things that you have interest in, based off of that, try to find the pain points. So it's not really a one size fits all thing. Because even if I give you exact example, if I say, okay, let's say you like writing books now. And
Mhm.
now, okay, let's say okay, like what's a pain point with writing books? Or even if you want to write books, that means you want to be an author. That means you want people to buy your books, right? Okay, so a pain point might be a lot of people don't really want to sit down and read
Mhm.
because nowadays people might not really want to sit down and read. Something you can now develop is some sort of AI transcribing tool that people can just take a picture of the book or search up the book and they can just listen to the book. You can maybe make an app or some sort of plug-in to Google or your web browser that people can use to literally listen to the books. That's just one thing that I just randomly thought of just now, but that's why I say it depends on what you're interested in. Because if you try to do something that you don't have any interest in, is the chances of you following through with that is slim. So it makes more
But
sense.
you stumbled on photography. You weren't interested. You
Yeah, I
just
was, but I got interested in it. I'm just lucky that I liked it. It's
okay.
it's a, it's I'm sure it's actually other people that I know that at my church that they made them take pictures too. They don't take pictures now.
Okay.
So it's just, I'm just lucky that I liked it.
Wow.
There's some people that can stumble into things that they don't have any interest in it at all. So that's why I said the most important thing is make sure the skill is valuable and make sure the industry it is in, you have interest in. Yeah. And even if you don't have interest in, just make sure that, it's just valuable. You have to make sure that what you add in value because at the end of the day, the people that are not gonna they're gonna get laid off are people that are not adding value at work or whatever you do. If you're not adding value, then that's you're at a disadvantage because there are a lot of people that are driven and want to add value, and those people are gonna surpass you.
Mm.
And if you work at a company, your bosses are gonna see that. They might not act like they see it, but they're gonna see that you're not adding that much value, and they're gonna see that they can just get someone to develop an AI agent that basically does your job. The AI agent that can literally do anything. So your job is included. So if you're somebody that already adds value, and if you use AI too, you're not going to be as replaceable. You have to make it as hard to replace yourself as possible. That's what
Indispensable.
I'll say. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Adedapo. Thank you. Well, he's the CEO of Daposhoti.com. He's also the founder of Focal.
Coco.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're going to put all the details. I'm sure to be on the screen shortly. And also he's a cloud engineer. He's a three-in-one and he's still scaling. So the reason why we talk to people like this is that he's a startup. He has his own business, and he's innovative. That's a key word. He's innovative ideas, and all that. We've spoken to people in the area of agriculture, IT, automation. We don't limit to. We just like people that start. Doesn't matter how young you are. He has a company, a startup. He's a cloud engineer. He works with companies, as an engineer, but he also has his own photography business. He also has his own newsletter, and he's taking it to the next level. So, and I'm sure you somewhere along the line you still end up doing your master's, but I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming. So, to all our viewers, you heard from the horse's mouth. Never give up. Never say never. Keep scaling. We have to keep scaling. I'm scaling too. I don't
Yeah.
Everybody is scaling. So take care. See you all. Cheers. Thanks, Dapo. Thanks for your
No
time.
problem. No problem.